Okay, thank you, Frank. And 3 matches completed here in Maryland. Robert Lawrence defeating Walter Ray Williams 219 to 217, game 1. Second match, Del Ballard came out of the wings and defeated his roommate 247 to 208, Robert Lawrence. Then Norm Duke. Ballard 257, again 8 strikes, to Duke's 223. If there was ever a competitive match, it is between Pete Weber and Del Ballard for the title and $30,000 to the winner. Cool, collected Pete Weber. This man, Del Ballard, has had 2 big games, 247 and 257. Yeah. And opens with a powerful one. Pete Weber, 5'7", 135 pounds, 56th television appearance. His record in games, 59 wins, 39 losses, 217 average. Pete has won from every position.
He's got 4 titles from the #1 position, that stutter step, 5.5 step delivery, that high backswing, tremendous pivot step, the good follow through and extension. As good of natural talent as I've ever seen in the sport of bowling. Tournament leader, going for 2 in a row. Wow, tough break, the solid 9. We haven't seen too many of them this year, Chris, because the PBA has been putting a longer oil pattern down. The ball doesn't break quite as quickly, but we said on the synthetic lane surface, as you see the ball cutting the 5-pin right off the 9, synthetic lane surface, the last 15 feet, hook a little bit more. That's what caused the 9.
Last year, Pete's first visit to the Baltimore area, he was 3rd to Danny Weissman in winning at Woodlawn. Del Ballard, in his 3rd match, 2 victories today.
Wrinkle, wrinkle. Oh, yeah.
Both these players have international experience. Probably the most well documented by Del Ballard Jr. in 1988. He went over to the Summer Olympics in Seoul, Korea. Observed the Olympics bowling matches over there, ironically or surprisingly, won by a Korean. He says there's packed crowds in Korea.
Set up, set up. Threw it bad. Jerked up on it.
He tagged himself that title.
You're right, Chris. He jerked up on the shot. He said it. We talked about it earlier. What he has to do is get the ball over in that 3-pin zone and drive it over in the 3-pin over in the 4-7 zone. We've seen similar combinations earlier today.
Stay on the lane.
He hurried that shot terribly. Terribly quick. Oh, just didn't take his time. A little upset.
Boy, a tremendous loss of wood. If he just gets 2 of these pins, he'd have had 4 more pins in the scoreboard. Instead of having 52 in the 3rd frame, he now has only 48. Pete Weber's right back in the match.
And when given an opportunity like his father, Dick Weber, they jump on opportunities. Like you, Bo. You St. Louis folks are tough.
Thank you.
Well, let's describe... Pete describes his thoughts when he steps up on that approach. Here's what he said.
Well, in the championship round, when I'm sitting there just waiting to bowl, I'm not thinking about anything. That's the farthest thing from my mind is bowling. But when I get on the approach, all I think about is getting up, throwing a good shot, and making the best shot I know how.
And that was not one of them. 3-6-10.
Well, Pete, whether he wins or loses, we'll be heading back to St. Louis, Chris, and that's my hometown, and that's where you'll be heading tomorrow evening.
That's right. In fact, all of us are going there. Frank Esposito, Carol Leddy, Larry Cam, for the 2nd salute to champions, honoring Marion Ladewig. There it is. Beautiful spare. You're looking at Texan Del Ballard, winner of 2 games, trailing by 12 against Pete Weber. Open frame, now shooting in the 4th. Nice comeback. using all the lane, I might add. We're in Baltimore, home to Babe Ruth, as we documented at the beginning of our show. Edgar Allan Poe, H.L. Mencken, the author and journalist, American painter Rembrandt Peale, and our stage manager, Tom Gatewood, twice All-American at Notre Dame, but more important, he was 3 times All-Academic All-American at Notre Dame. Played with the Giants, too. We like his hometown. We come here often.
Ballard drifting high in the fifth frame after a strike in the 4th. Trails Pete Weber by 12 pins. You see the pin action here. Almost leaves the 4-6. 6-pin on the right-hand part of your screen being pushed out. Easy spare for Ballard, but he'll trail by 12.
Okay, now Pete Weber. Pete opened with a strike, spare. Now shooting in the 5th frame.
Pete, the full approach, bowled his first 300 game when he was only 12 years old. I think a few younger, around the 11-year-old group, have done it since.
So there again, the 3-6-10.
Well, he converted that the previous frame on the left-hand lane. Pete cuts his hook down, uses about 22 miles an hour of speed across lane. Needs to get the ball just to the right of the 3. He'll remain in the lead with the conversion.
Just does come up. You know, Bo, as we look at Kim Schultheis, Pete's fiance, come to Baltimore, every time we look at Fort McHenry, we realize that she guarded Baltimore's harbor against the British, and that's where Francis Scott Key, a Baltimore lawyer, witnessed the bombardment of the fort, and he wondered if the flag was still there. This prompted him to pen the Star-Spangled Banner. And boy, we have a lot to be patriotic about after what's happened with our Commander-in-Chief, President George Bush, and General Schwarzkopf, and Neil, you name them.
Pete Weber a little bit queried about, or confused about what to do on the lane condition. He's going almost straight down and in. And the only thing Peter can do here is use his power, try to bounce the ball, bounce a pin out from the 4-7 zone, but he doesn't want to give up the pin carry. It's a tough shot.
Okay, so now Pete Weber trailing by 5, and Ballard, like Weber, when the door is open, they'll jump on it. 6th frame, Ballard. Like that.